The most powerful conversations you'll ever have happen without you saying a single word. Sounds crazy, right? But decades of research into human behavior have revealed that your body is constantly talking. And here's the scary part. Most people have no idea what their body is actually saying. You could be sabotaging your relationships, your career, your entire life, and not even know it. Today we're going to explore something that could completely change how people see you, trust you, and respond to you. Stay with me on this one. Picture this. A guy walks into a job interview. Sharp suit, perfect resume, brilliant answers to every question. He doesn't get the job. Want to know why? His arms were crossed the entire time. His eyes kept darting around the room. His smile never quite reached his eyes. The interviewer later said something just felt off about him. That's the thing. People don't always know why they don't trust someone. They just don't. Body language experts have spent decades studying this phenomenon. And here's what they've discovered. Most of us are making mistakes we don't even realize. We think we're coming across as confident when we actually look defensive and nervous. We believe we're being open when our bodies are screaming that we're closed off. Here's the game-changing insight that transforms everything. The words you speak account for a surprisingly small portion of what you actually communicate. The rest, it's all in how you move, how you stand, how you look at someone. Your body speaks a language that everyone understands instinctively, even if they can't explain it. Let's explore how to win battles without ever opening your mouth. Let's paint a picture together. You walk into a room, maybe it's a meeting, maybe it's a first date, maybe it's just a family dinner. You think you're doing fine. You're saying all the right things, being polite, smiling at the appropriate moments. But something's not clicking. People aren't leaning in. They're not laughing at your jokes. They're checking their phones. And you walk away thinking, what just happened? I thought that went well. Here it actually happened. Your mouth was saying one thing while your body was communicating something completely different. And guess what? People believe your body every single time. Some of you probably know exactly what this feels like. You've been in situations where you felt invisible, where people seemed to look right through you, where you couldn't figure out why you weren't connecting with someone no matter how hard you tried. Consider this real scenario that body language researchers have documented countless times. A professional gives a presentation to a group of executives. Big deal, career-changing opportunity, weeks of preparation, perfect slides, brilliant talking points. Walks out thinking it was a home run, doesn't get the deal. Why? Constant face touching throughout the entire presentation. The executives didn't consciously analyze the gestures. They just felt something was off. They didn't trust the presenter. They couldn't explain why. They just didn't. This is the invisible battle most people are losing without even knowing they're fighting it. Your body is broadcasting signals 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can't turn it off, can't hit pause. Every single moment you're around other people, you're sending messages. And here's the brutal truth that research consistently confirms. Most of those messages are working against you without your knowledge. Think about common scenarios. You're in a negotiation and you keep blinking rapidly. You think you're listening intently, but they think you're uncomfortable, possibly deceptive. You're on a date with your arms folded across your chest. You think you're just cold, but they think you're closed off and uninterested. You're talking to your kids while scrolling your phone. You think you're multitasking efficiently, but they internalize the message that they don't matter enough for your full attention. The consequences ripple through every area of life: missed promotions, failed relationships, lost opportunities, friendships that never quite form, trust that never fully builds. And the worst part? Most people have absolutely no idea it's happening to them. Relationship researchers have documented fascinating cases that illustrate this perfectly. One study followed a couple married for 15 years who experienced constant arguments and misunderstandings despite genuinely loving each other. The breakthrough came when researchers identified a tiny behavioral pattern every time the wife spoke. The husband did an almost imperceptible eye roll. He probably didn't even know he was doing it, but she felt it every single time, felt dismissed, unimportant, unheard. 15 years of these micro signals had eroded trust, built resentment, and created emotional distance that words alone could never bridge. That's the battle we're examining here. And most people are fighting it with more words, better words, nicer words, completely missing the point. Research on communication has shown that verbal content represents only a portion of what we communicate, while the exact percentages vary by context. The consistent finding is that nonverbal signals carry enormous weight, often more than the words themselves. So while you're carefully choosing your vocabulary, your body is essentially shouting over you, and people are listening to your body. Not because they're trained experts, not because they've studied the research, but because human beings are wired to read nonverbal signals. We've been doing it for millions of years, long before language existed. Our ancestors' survival depended on reading other people's intentions through movements, posture, and eye contact. That instinct hasn't gone anywhere. It's operating right now in every interaction you have, either working for you or against you. Now, here's where everything changes, and this is crucial to understand before we get into specific techniques. Most people think body language is something you learn to fake: power poses, firm handshakes, forced eye contact. And look, those external techniques matter to some degree. But that's not where lasting change actually starts. Here's the mindset shift that transforms everything. You cannot fake authenticity, and attempting to do so usually backfires. Your body has been programmed over millions of years of evolution to express what's happening inside you. When you're genuinely nervous, your body shows it through dozens of micro signals you can't consciously control. When you're truly confident, your body shows that too, naturally, effortlessly, convincingly. So trying to paste confident body language onto an anxious mind creates what researchers call incongruence. And people sense that mismatch even when they can't articulate what feels wrong. Some of you might be thinking, great, so I'm just stuck with whatever my natural body language happens to be. Not at all. Here's the deeper insight. Lasting change starts from the inside, but you can work from both directions simultaneously. Body language researchers discovered something fascinating that changed how experts approach this entire field. Your body language follows your mental state. That much is obvious. But the reverse is also true. Your mental state follows your body language. The connection runs both ways. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever noticed how you naturally stand when you're genuinely excited about something? You don't have to remind yourself to open up your posture or force yourself to smile. It just happens automatically because your body and mind are connected. What happens in one affects the other, constantly in real time. So the real secret to powerful body language isn't memorizing a bunch of tricks to perform. It's becoming the kind of person whose natural signals are positive, open, and confident, while also using your body as a tool to accelerate that internal shift. Research has documented this phenomenon extensively. When people adopt confident, expansive postures, measurable changes occur in brain chemistry. They report feeling more confident, take more risks, and perform better in stressful situations. Not because they're fooling others, but because their bodies are sending signals to their brains that shift their actual internal state. Here's a simple experiment you can try right now, wherever you are. Slump your shoulders, drop your head, curl in on yourself. Notice how you feel, probably a bit deflated, maybe even slightly sad. Now do the opposite, sit up straight, pull your shoulders back, lift your chin, open up your chest. Feel the difference. That's not fake, that's real. Your body just changed your emotional state through pure physiology. This bidirectional connection between body and mind was one of the biggest breakthroughs in understanding human communication. Body language isn't just something we broadcast outward. It's something that shapes us from the inside out. When you start using your body intentionally, not as a trick to fool others, but as a tool to genuinely change your own state, everything shifts. You walk into rooms differently, speak differently, connect with people more easily, not because you're performing confidence like an actor, but because you're actually creating confidence through your physiology. There's a massive difference between those two things, and people can feel it. Here's what's beautiful about this approach. Once you genuinely feel confident, open, and present, your body language becomes effortless. You don't have to remember techniques or run through mental checklists. Your body just does it naturally because you've aligned your inside with your outside. That's when you start winning battles without saying a word, not through manipulation or performance, but through authentic presence that others can feel and trust. All right, let's get into specific techniques you can start using today. These aren't tricks to memorize. They're tools that work best when combined with the internal mindset shift we just discussed. Use them with genuine intention and they'll serve you well. First, let's talk about mastering eye contact, which is probably the single most powerful nonverbal signal you can send. It communicates confidence, interest, honesty, and connection all at once. But here's what most people get wrong. They think more eye contact is always better. It's not. Too much eye contact feels aggressive and dominating. It makes people uncomfortable and puts them on the defensive. Too little eye contact suggests you're hiding something, uninterested, or possibly being deceptive. Research suggests the sweet spot is around 60 to 70% of the time when you're speaking and slightly more when you're listening. And here's a useful technique when you break eye contact. Break it to the side rather than looking down. Looking down signals submission or defeat, while looking to the side suggests thoughtfulness. Also, try focusing on one eye at a time rather than trying to look at both simultaneously, which creates an unfocused, slightly unsettling gaze. Second, pay close attention to what your hands are doing because they reveal more than most people realize. Hidden hands make people uncomfortable on a deep, instinctive level. It's an ancient survival mechanism. If they can't see your hands, their primitive brain registers potential threats. So keep your hands visible, use them when you speak, and show open palms when appropriate to signal honesty and openness. What you want to avoid is touching your face, especially your nose and mouth area. Research has identified this as a behavior that triggers suspicion in observers, regardless of whether actual deception is occurring. Your audience's brains register it as a potential warning sign. Also watch for self-comfort gestures like rubbing your neck, playing with your hair, or gripping your own arms. These signal anxiety and undermine the confidence you're trying to project. Consider this documented example. A sales professional knew his product inside and out but consistently underperformed. Analysis revealed a single problematic gesture every time he mentioned the price. His hand went straight to the back of his neck. He was unconsciously broadcasting discomfort about the very thing he needed customers to accept confidently. Customers picked up on that discomfort without knowing why, became hesitant themselves, asked for discounts or walked away. Fixing that one gesture produced a noticeable improvement in results. One gesture made that much difference. Third, understand the remarkable power of mirroring, which operates almost like social magic. When you subtly mirror someone's body language, they feel connected to you on a level below conscious awareness. They just feel like you understand them, like you're on the same wavelength. Watch people who are in deep rapport, close friends at a cafe, couples in love, and you'll see them mirror each other naturally. One leans in, the other follows. One picks up their drink, the other does the same moments later. You can use this intentionally, but the key word is subtle. If you mirror too quickly or too obviously, it feels mocking or manipulative and destroys the connection you're trying to build. The technique is to wait a few seconds before making a similar adjustment, not copying, just harmonizing. Fourth, learn to control the space you occupy, because how much space you take up communicates volumes about your confidence level. Confident people naturally take up more space. They spread out slightly. Their arms aren't pinned tightly to their sides. Their stance is wider. They claim territory without being aggressive about it. Insecure people shrink, pull in, make themselves smaller. Take up as little space as possible. Now, this doesn't mean sprawling across every room like you own it. That's obnoxious and creates its own problems. But don't collapse into yourself either. A useful mental image, imagine there's a string attached to the top of your head, gently pulling you upward. That single visualization corrects about 80% of posture problems instantly. Fifth, make sure your words and body are telling the same story, because this is where most people fail without realizing it. You say, "I'm really excited about this," with a monotone voice and slumped shoulders, mixed signals. Your words say excited, your body says bored. You say, "Oh, I completely understand," while looking at your phone, mixed signals. Your words say attentive, your body says you have better things to do. When signals conflict, people believe the body every time. So before you speak, ask yourself, is my body saying the same thing my mouth is about to say? If there's a mismatch, fix the body first and let the words follow naturally. Sixth, and this is something most people never consider, watch the feet, both others and your own. Feet are surprisingly honest because we're so focused on controlling our faces and hands that we forget about what's happening below the waist. But research shows feet tend to point where people actually want to go. If someone's talking to you but their feet are pointed toward the door, they want to leave regardless of what their mouth is saying. If you're in a group conversation and someone's feet are pointed toward you specifically, they're genuinely interested in you. Next time you're talking to someone, glance down briefly and notice where their feet are aimed. It often tells you their real level of engagement better than anything else. And check your own feet too. Make sure they're pointed at the person you're engaging with to signal that they have your complete attention. Now listen, here's some honest truth that needs to be said. This stuff isn't easy, and anyone who tells you otherwise is selling something. Changing your body language means rewiring habits you've built over decades of unconscious repetition. It means becoming aware of things you've never paid attention to before. It means catching yourself mid-gesture and correcting in real time while also trying to have a normal conversation. That's genuinely difficult, and you need to know that going in. You're going to mess up a lot, especially at first. Even experts who've studied this for decades still catch themselves crossing their arms when feeling defensive, touching their faces when uncertain, or pointing their feet toward the exit when bored. The difference isn't that experts never make mistakes, it's that they notice when they do. And noticing is the first step to changing. You can't fix what you're not aware of. Some of you are going to try this for a week, feel awkward and self-conscious and give up. Please don't. That feeling of awkwardness is actually evidence of progress, not failure. It means you're conscious of something that used to be completely unconscious, and that awareness is the foundation everything else builds on. The awkwardness is temporary. It's just the discomfort of learning something new. The benefits are permanent. When people first start practicing intentional eye contact, for example, they often feel robotic and weird, like they're staring at people inappropriately. It's uncomfortable and unnatural at first. But with persistence, it gradually becomes automatic, just another part of how they connect with people. No thought required. The same progression happens with every body language skill. Awkward conscious effort transforms into smooth unconscious competence. You just have to push through the uncomfortable middle part. Here's something else to understand: perfection isn't the goal, and it shouldn't be. Body language mastery isn't about never making mistakes or controlling every micro-expression. It's about awareness and gradual improvement over time. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to practice. Every conversation a chance to observe yourself and others. Every meeting a laboratory for experimentation. Some days you'll feel like you nailed it. Some days you'll cringe at your own behavior. That variability is normal and expected. What matters is maintaining awareness and continuing to adjust and learn. Because here's what the research consistently shows: even small improvements in body language create disproportionately large changes in how people respond to you. You don't need to become a body language master overnight. That's not realistic anyway. You just need to be slightly better today than you were yesterday, and then slightly better tomorrow than you are today. Those small improvements compound over time into transformative change. Trust the process. So let's bring this all together and talk about what this really means for your life. Every single day you're fighting battles for respect, for connection, for trust, for opportunity, for the things that matter to you. And most of those battles are won or lost before you ever open your mouth to speak. Your body is communicating constantly, whether you want it to or not. The only question is, what is it saying? Is it projecting confidence, openness and trustworthiness, or is it broadcasting nervousness, defensiveness and uncertainty? The remarkable thing is that you get to influence this, not by faking signals or memorizing manipulation techniques, but by becoming aware of the language your body speaks and consciously aligning your outside with your inside. This goes deeper than just getting better at communication tactics. It's really about becoming more fully and authentically yourself, expressed through every channel available to you. When your body genuinely matches your intention, something almost magical happens in your interactions with others. You stop performing and start truly connecting. People feel your authenticity on an instinctive level they can't explain, but absolutely trust. They open up to you more readily, believe in you more easily, and want to help you more naturally. And opportunities start appearing that you never even knew you were missing before. Doors that were always there, but somehow never opened until now. This transformation is available to anyone willing to put in the work. The shy person who learns to project genuine confidence. The chronically misunderstood person who finally gets heard. The isolated person who builds deep, meaningful connections. These outcomes are possible for anyone, including you, regardless of where you're starting from. So here's a challenge for the next 7 days. Just watch and observe. Pay close attention to your own body language throughout your daily interactions. Notice when you're open and when you're closed, when you're projecting confidence and when you're signaling anxiety, when you're sending the signals you intend, and when you're undermining yourself without realizing it. Don't judge yourself, just observe with curiosity. That awareness alone, without changing anything else, will start shifting your patterns. Then pick one specific thing to work on, just one. Maybe it's eye contact. Maybe it's posture, maybe it's keeping your hands visible and avoiding self-comfort gestures. Practice that single element until it becomes natural and automatic. Then pick another. Small, consistent steps produce massive eventual changes. You have this incredible tool at your disposal right now, a way to communicate that's more powerful than any words you could ever choose. A language that every human being instinctively understands. Learn to use it consciously and intentionally, because the people who understand body language and can project it authentically have an enormous advantage in every area of life. They walk into rooms and something just feels different about them. People gravitate toward them without knowing exactly why. Doors open more easily. Trust forms more quickly. Influence flows more naturally. That can be you. It's not magic and it's not luck, it's skill. And skills can be learned by anyone willing to practice. So learn this one, because when you master the art of communicating without words, you stop merely fighting battles. You start winning them without saying a single word.